Today we're going to work on a solo arrangement of Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven. This is an abridged version of the first movement for solo high G ukulele, and it's going to use a lot of finger picking technique. It's a lot of fun to play. It does take some practice, but you'll get it as long as you take bite-sized pieces and work through it slowly. We're going to start here with section A. You'll actually notice on the tab I've marked it section A, B, and C to make it a little easier, and you can see on the YouTube here you can actually skip to the different sections. So starting with this section A, I'm going to be using that 4-finger picking technique. What that means is thumb on the G string, index finger on the C, middle finger on the E, ring finger on the A. I find that gets you really good consistent tone if you keep the thumb right about where the fretboard and the sound hole meet, and then keep the index, middle, and ring behind the thumb, sort of like this. That oftentimes will have your wrist kind of cocked like that, and that's very normal. If you'd like more information on 4-finger picking, be sure to check out the link down below. But to start, we're going to play an A minor chord, but not our everyday one. We're going to take our middle finger, place on the 4th fret of the C string, our ring finger, 5th fret of the E string, and our index finger to the 3rd fret of the A. Now what we're going to do here is play this really simple pattern. It's just going to go C, E, A 4 times. So it goes C, E, A, C, E, A, C, E, A, C. And that's all there is to the first measure, which is kind of neat. Okay? Now the next measure here, measure 2, is actually going to be almost the same. Instead of being C, E, A every time though, it's going to start playing the G and the C together. So that's why we use our 4-finger technique so that our thumb and index can pluck those two together. And then we play the E and the A. And then from here it's the same C, E, A, C, E, A, C, E, we did before. So the second measure there looks like this. Going on to the third measure, we're finally going to have our first movement here in our left hand. To do this, all that you're going to do is take your middle finger and move it up 1 fret. So what I find helps is if your fingers are kind of straight up and down with this A minor chord. For this F chord, you just sort of pivot your wrist towards your headstock there and have your middle finger kind of slide over with your fingers kind of pointing towards the right shoulder. And then this measure is going to start off the same. We're going to play C, E, A, and then C, E, A again. Quite nice. Then we're going to switch chords again. To do this, change to the B flat chord. Take your ring finger, move it up 1 fret while taking the other 2 fingers off. Have your index cross over to the 5th fret on the C string and your middle finger to the 5th fret of the A string. It's like a G chord just moved up, right? So instead of being on 2, it's up here at 5. This makes it a B flat chord. And to play this, we're going to just do the same thing, C, E, A, C, E, A. Pretty straightforward, right? Now we're going to move to an E7 chord. And what we want to do here is we're going to leave our middle finger where it is, and then we're going to take our ring finger off, and then our index is actually going to cross up and over to bar across the 1st fret. So you see that I take this index and I move it up to 4 and then bar across. See how efficient that movement is as I go from this chord here to this chord here. This arrangement is all about trying to make sure everything is as efficient as possible to get the best tone. And we'll talk more about that as we go through the different parts. But you can see that sort of change there. And then we're going to play C, E, A with that. So no problem there. So we have, right? And then we're going to move. And then to close out this measure 4 here, we're going to play open on the E string. Now what I like to do is I like to just take my index finger off for that open on the E so that my A string can still ring a little bit. Right? This string is still ringing while I play that open. And then I'm going to take it off. When I take it off, I'm going to move my hand down the fretboard because the next note I'm going to play is 3 on the A string. So it goes something like this. So you can use your ring finger down here. And then you're going to play open on the E, and then open on the A. And then you're going to use your ring finger here on 2 of the A, which might feel weird. You might think, well, why not one of these fingers? And the reason is, the next note is 2 on the C. Middle finger is going to cross over for that. And then 1 on the G, index finger to there. And you notice this is an E7 chord. Kind of neat, right? We're just kind of cascading into it, building it as we go. And then the last note of this is 2 on the A, which is already in there. This part of the song here on measure 4 is one of the most important ones to start to establish that chords are going to be built kind of piece by piece, and you want to be getting comfortable with what we call predictive movement, making sure that you're moving towards the destination, but not necessarily everything at once, because if you do that, the sound is going to go away. So just so that you can look at measure 4, it looks something like this. And let's go ahead and hear measures 1, 2, 3, and 4. It should sound something like this, really, really slow. Really pretty though. Let's go on to measure 5. This is going to be 5, 6, 7, and 8. It's going to be more of the same in some ways and at the same time very different. To start here, we're going to use a lot of open strings. We're going to play open on the A, then open on the E, then open on the A, then open on the E, then open on the A. Then we're going to play 3 on the A. Now, this first 3, it doesn't really matter which one you use. I usually use my ring finger here to play that first 3. Then you're going to play open on the E, and then you're going to play open on the A, then you're going to play 3 again. And this one does matter, because if you look at that 3 on the A, it then goes to 7 on the A. So we don't want to use our ring finger or pinky because we need to move upward on the ukulele. So I like to use my index finger on this 3. So you can kind of set it up by using this index finger on the 3 both times. Because then we're going to go all the way up to 7 with the pinky. Play that and then play it a second time. So at measure 5, and this is kind of starting the main melody of the song. When I think of the song, I think of that sort of right? That's kind of the melody that I hear when I think of it. But anyways, going on to measure 6, we're going to play this E chord. So the pinky is already here on 7 of the A. So we're going to take our index finger and bar it across the 4th fret. So we've got 4, 4, 4, and the 7 here with the pinky. And I like to take my middle finger and stack it across. If you're struggling getting a good bar chord, it's probably because you're too far back. Get right up next to that fret wire, add extra pressure with that middle finger. Oftentimes that's all you need to get a good tone with it. What we're going to do here is play our C and A strings at the same time. Kind of weird, combination that we often don't play. It's okay to kind of switch technique here if it's easier to play, as long as you're getting those notes clear. We're going to play the C and A together, then E, G, C, E, G, C, E, G, and then we're going to play the 7 on the A twice. So 6s. Now, really important note, you notice the A string's only played at the very beginning of the measure, and it's not played again till the very end of the measure, yet it is the melody note. Make sure that you announce that note, pronounce it with the way that you play it, pluck it a little bit harder, and make sure that you maintain the pressure with the pinky so that that note continues to ring. That creates almost a duet-like vibe, and that's really important for this song. If you mute it, see how bad that sounds, right? So let that note ring. Now going in the next measure, we're going to take that bar off, play open on the C and 7 on the A, which is already there with the pinky. Then the middle finger is going to come down to 5 on the E. Then the index to 3 on the A, taking the pinky off. Then open on the E, take that middle off. And then open on the A, take the index off. So that's a little bit of a tricky line, and you want to make sure you're not doing it all at once. Rather, you're moving the fingers as they need to let it ring. So that looks something like this. Going into the next half of measure 7, you see it goes to 5 on the G just before this written D minor chord. To do this, what we're going to do is we're going to bar our index across 5, and then we're going to add our pinky here to 8 on the A. We're going to play the 5 on the G string, and then we're going to play the C and the A strings together on 5 and 8. Then you're going to play 5 on the E, which is already there. Then you're going to take your pinky off for 5 on the A. And then C, E, A. Pretty straightforward. So measure 7, something like this. Now we go on to measure 8 here. We're going to take our ring finger, place down 7 on the A, play the C, E, and A together. Open on the G. And then index goes down to 3 on the E. And then open on the E and open on the G. But when you do this open on the E and open on the G, hand's going to move up because the next note that's played is 12 on the C. So as you play that open E and that open G, you're going to take your ring finger and move it all the way up to 12 on the C string, which seems crazy, right? Why are we going all the way up here? And the reason is the next chord that's played, that G, take your middle finger, place it on 11 of the C string, and take your index and actually bar it across the 10 on the E and the A string. Make sure you're getting right up next to that fret wire with this. And this is actually one of my favorite G chords on the ukulele. And this is facilitating this melody line. So we're going to play the C and E together where you see the G chord written. Open G, 11 on the C, 10 on the A, which is already there, open on the G, 11 on the C. Bit of a doozy there. If you're watching this video and you haven't paused yet, well, you're either a very, very good player or you're biting off more than you can chew. So make sure that you're pausing, going back, just working on little sections at a time. To be honest, it took me a long time to get this song to where I could play it just because it's difficult. It takes a lot of muscle memory. Careful practice is key. So let's look at measure 8 there. It looks something like this, right? We went with our... That's one of those measures that I sat and practiced quite a bit. But let's look at 5 through 8 now so that you can see it all. Now let's go on to measure 9 at this point. Measure 9, I think, came out to be my favorite from an arranging standpoint because we get to use some harmonics. You'll notice that we're going to play 0 on the G, and then you'll see 12 on the C string is written, but it's got these little brackets around it. That means we're going to use a harmonic. To do this, we're simply going to take our middle finger, and we're going to touch our C string without compressing it. So what you'll notice is I'm touching the C string, I'm touching it right on the actual fret wire. So not in between, but the wire itself, just to the right side of these double dots. I'm just gonna very lightly touch the string, and that creates what's called a harmonic. If you'd like more information on harmonics, check out the link down below. But we're gonna play a harmonic with our open G. And the reason is it gets us this nice high note and lets us move our hand, because after we do this, we're gonna play open on the G, and then you're gonna take your middle finger, place it on 8 of the E. Open G again, 8 on the E again, index on 7 of the A, open G again, 8 on the E, 7 on the A. See, it's all in there. Then we're gonna take our pinky, play it on the 10 on the A, play that twice. Now from here, we go on to a G chord. Just take your index finger, bar it across the 7th fret of the G, C, E, and A strings, leaving your pinky there on 10. We're going to play our C and A strings together, then the E, G, C, E, G, C, E, G. Notice that's the same pattern from earlier. 10 on the A twice. So that you can hear it measure 9 into 10, sound something like. Now from here, we take our index finger off, leave the pinky where it is on 10 on the A for measure 11, play the C and A strings together, and then add your middle finger on 8 of the E. Take the pinky finger off, add the index on 7 of the A, open on the G, 8 on the E already there, 7 on the A. And now we're going to go to this really high E7 chord. To do this, you're going to take your ring finger, move it up to 10 on the E string, and take your pinky, move it up to 11 on the A. We're going to pluck those two strings together. You notice these two fingers in position. Then the index is going to come to 8 on the C string, and then play 10 on the E. This is a tricky transition going from this, but it's really important to get comfortable with. So that looks something like this starting at 11 there, so you can see the movement. And then we're going to do harmonic. So more harmonic practice, do harmonic on C, E, and A on 12. And the cool thing about harmonics is you see it rings without me fretting it. In the original version of this, it continues to ascend, but we're running out of fret space. It's a problem us ukulele players have often. So we're going to jump down an octave, but continue this. And the way that we're working this is by simply just using harmonics to allow our hand to move down while getting consistent ringing. Because after we do these harmonics, we're going to play open on the C and open on the E. So measure 11, one of the hardest of the song, looks something like this. Really, really, really slow. Now see why I go that open C and open E? I'm moving my hand down because I'm then going to fret an E7, index on 1 of the G, middle on 2 of the C, and ring on 2 of the A. Pluck my C and A together. E, G, C, E, G. Pretty straightforward. Then we're going to move to this A minor chord. And to do this, all that we're going to do is take our middle finger off and move both fingers up 1 fret. So now we have 2, 0, 0, 3. And we're going to pluck our C and A strings together. Then open E, 2 on the G, 0 C, 0 E, and then take your ring finger off for open A. That actually is going to conclude section A, which is quite a bit of music. But let's go ahead and look at measure 12. Should sound something like this. But let's go ahead and hear 9 through 12 so that we can wrap up this section A. Should be something like this with that harmonic starting. Again, pretty difficult, but as you get it, it's really fun to play. So now we're going on to the B section. Honestly, the B section, as far as the 3 sections go, is my favorite. And it really translates well with our high G ukuleles to get a really cool sound. Now, you might have been playing this with a low G and notice, hey, it kind of works, and continue with it. There's nothing wrong with it. You'll just notice some of the parts don't sound quite right. This particular section, though, can sound really cool with a low G. So give it a go. So starting with section B, we're going to be playing a B flat chord, which we're actually going to be playing a B flat major 7, which is middle finger on the 2nd fret of the C string, ring finger on the 3 of the G, index on the 1 of the E. So you can see that it's kind of like an E minor chord, only with the fingers up and over instead. So this 3-2-1-0 is important, but what's really important is that you build it to the song, because throughout this section, we're going to be cascading our fingers individually to build it. So try to use your ring finger first as your first finger to place, then the middle, then the index. Because what happens here is it goes G, C, E, A, open on the A, then C, E, G, C, E. So it kind of follows this little pattern. But then for the last 3 notes, it's going to go to this beautiful G sharp diminished. And to do this, we take our ring finger off and we're going to take our index and we're going to bar it across the 1st fret. Now, we don't need the A string played at all with this. So it is A-okay if your A string is slackened, but the other 3, the G and the C and the E, sound good, because that's going to be the strings that are played. G, C, E. So measure 13 looks like this. Then going on to 14, we're going to take everything off. Play open on the A, open C, open E, open A. Take the middle finger 2 on the G, open E. Then take the index and place it on 1 of the C to make this an A chord. Pluck the C and A strings together, open E, 2 on the G, which is already there, open A, 1 on the C, already there, and then open E. It's called a Picardy third, although I'm not sure if that's the correct connotation for it, because I think Picardy third only applies to endings. So any classical buffs out there, please leave a comment down below to correct me. But it's going from the minor to the parallel major. Really, really pretty sound, very sort of uplifting sound. So you can hear 14. Now, the note that I had before on 13 really applies here, building it 1 finger at a time, because we want strings to ring into each other. This is called the Campanella effect, which is a bell-like sound where we let strings kind of vibrate together to create a really rich, full sound. So to do this, we're going to play measure 15, which you'll notice is exactly the same as measure 13. There's no difference. They are exactly identical. But we're going to start by putting our ring finger on 3, then middle finger move to 2, and then index on 1. And then we go through. Play it exactly the same as 13. Going on to 16 here, we're going to go to the A. This time we're going straight to the A, so we play the open A string, index then on 1 on the C, open E, and then middle here on 2 of the G. And then C, E, A, C, E, A, C, E. So pretty straightforward there. Then we go on to 17, and guess what? 17 is exactly the same as 15 and 13 was. Exactly identical. So let's go ahead and hear what 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 sounds like, keeping in mind that 13, 15, and 17 are all exactly the same. It should be something like this. Cool. Now, one quick little teaching note. I really want you to work on making sure that you're not moving the fingers until you have to, and you move them sort of one at a time. The reason for this is I'm going to play it where I'm moving the fingers quickly. It might sound something like this. Sorry, let me do that again. Hear that sort of disruption that's taking place? That's because by moving the fingers all at once, whatever string was vibrating before in the previous measure stops ringing. And that's very counterproductive to what we want. This whole section should really be the fullest sounding of the whole arrangement in terms of quantity of notes and just general fullness. Right? So anyways, let's go ahead and move on now to measure 18. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 will conclude our B section. And I think this is quite a spicy meatball that's being played here. We're going to start with 18, play open on the A, index on 1 of the C, and then open E, middle to 2 on the G, 1 on the C, 0 on the E. So that's the same as what we've been playing before. Then it changes. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to play 2 on the C and 0 on the A at the same time. To do this, take your middle finger off, move your index up 1 to 2 on the C. Very important to use your index here, and you'll see why in just a moment. Play those 2 strings together, open on the A, 2 on the C. And you're going to play 2 on the C again. You're going to slide it up to 5 on the C to start moving our hand upwards. Then you're going to play open on the A. When you do this, what you want to do is continue moving your index up and get it ready to go to 10 on the E string when you play that open A. So you're moving your hand continually up, so it kind of has this. So you see I'm moving up, and now I'm going to bar there and play 10 on the E with my index and go to that same G chord we played earlier in the song. So middle finger here on 11 of the C, and then the index barred across 10 on the E and the A. And you're going to play your 10 on the E. Then you're going to take your pinky or your ring finger, whatever's more comfortable, and play 13 on the E string. So way up there. You're going to play the C and A together, which you'll notice is already there at 11 and 10. Then 10 on the E, 13 on the E, adding that pinky, open G, 10 again, 13, open on the G, 10, 13. So this is one of the hardest little lines of the whole song, truly. So just looking at 18 into this, it should be something like... Now it goes to a C chord here. This is a little bit easier. We're going to just take all of our fingers off and move our index down one string to 10 on the A, play the G and A strings together, then open C, open and E. And as I do this, I'm going to move my hand down and bar it across 5, add the pinky on 8 of the A for this F chord. Now there's a lot of chords in this next section, so it's really important to get really good fretting habits as you go through. But we're going to play our C, E, and A together, 5, 5, 5, 8. Then you're going to use your ring to play 7 on the A. And then you're going to take this shape and you're going to move it down 1 fret, add the pinky on 7, so it's 4, 4, 4, 7. Play your C, E, and A. And then middle finger to 5 on the A. And then you're going to take your pinky, place down 7 of the A, open everything else with the index, so it's open on the C, play open C and 7 on the A together. And then you're going to reapply the bar to 5 here at the end for just that 5 on the G. And that's going to set up the next measure. But just so that we can see measure 20, it looks something like this. Right? So it's a little bit tricky to get through. You can see that F chord, the 5, 5, 5, 8. We play the 7. And then the B flat, adding the middle finger here on 6 of the E with the 8, right? And then we're going to play the 5 on the A, which is built in there, moving to the E7, right? It's easy to get lost, easy to misplace chords in there too. But here it is one more time, really, really slow. Going on to 21, if you've made it through that, you're going to play the C and the A strings together, which you're barring across 5. Then play 5 on the E, then add the middle finger on 6 of the E, and then C string, and then 5 again, and then 6. Then add the ring finger on 7 of the A, and then you're going to play 5 and 6 on the E again. Pinky on 8 of the A, 5 and 6 again. So that's... And then this is, I think, another one of the hardest measures of the song. You're going to take everything else off for 22, but leave the ring finger on 7 of the A, play the C and A together. And then the middle finger is going to play 3 on the E, and then the index on 3 of the A. Excuse me, middle is going to play 5 on the E, and then the index is 3 on the A. So that's something like this, where we have... And then open on the E, open on the A. So you'll notice that looks very similar to what we played like on measure 7, for instance. So we have... And then we move up pinky on 7 on the A for our E7. So we play that 7 on the A, and then we just bar across with our index finger to get that chord shape and pluck the strings A, E, C, or excuse me, A, E, G, C, E, G. And that concludes section B. But let's go ahead and hear measures 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 together so that you can see this. It's a doozy, but it's fun when you start to get it. Again, it's normal for these parts to take quite a bit of time to work on. I would try doing maybe 2 measures at a time, and maybe it takes a week to do those 2 measures. That's normal. It all depends on just how much time you put in is how much you'll get out. As long as you're using the right fingerings, you're going to be good to go. So 18 through 22 should be something like... And now from here, at the 30-minute mark in the video, we are on to section C. So at section C, we're at measure 23, and we're going to basically play the same stuff. It's actually kind of cool because section C, measure 23, is pretty much the same thing that you played on measure, almost the same, not quite, but almost the same as measure, where are we in the song? It's similar to like when we're at 5, 6, 7, 8. That's very similar to what we're playing here. So we're going to start with something a little bit different. We're going to play 0 on the C, 5 on the E with our middle finger here, and 7 on the A with our pinky. And then we're going to play open on the E, open on the A, open on the E, open on the A, 3 on the A, open on the E, open on the A, 3 on the A again, and then 7 on the A, and 7 on the A again. And you can see that's like our old friend with measure 5, right? Only now it's something like this. Almost the same, right? And then we're going to go on to our E7, and guess what? This E7 is exactly the same as measure 6. So measure 24 and measure 6, exactly identical, which is pretty neat. And then guess what? As we go on to measure 25 and 26, they are exactly the same as 7 and 8. So we have they are exactly identical to what we played earlier, which is really cool because it allows us to have some repetition. It's really easy to play wrong notes in there. In fact, if you listen really carefully to what I played, I mixed up a couple strings, but you might not have noticed I made a mistake. It's a little teaching opportunity with this song. If you play a couple strings out of order, you play, some of those filler notes, maybe it goes, E, G, C, and you play G, E, C, a lot of times you can get away with it. I recommend practicing very slow so that you can develop the muscle memory to make sure you're playing the right notes at the right time. When the pressure's on and you're performing, just keep it going. Don't stop. Try to see how well you can keep that routine going, and you'll notice your performance will reflect that. So where are we now? We just finished measure 26, right? So 23, 24, 25, 26 are exactly the same as 5, 6, 7, and 8, except for the very first note being this chord instead of just a single note. Now from here we go on to measure 27, and hey, 27 looks kind of familiar because it is. 27 is exactly the same as 9. It's that same harmonic. And going right into this next measure here of 28, exactly the same as measure 10. Pretty cool. Repetition. We like that, right? And then we go on to 29. Guess what? That is exactly the same as 11. Exactly the same. Pretty cool, right? So measures 27, 28, and 29 are exactly the same as measures 9, 10, and 11. Sweet. So now we go on measure 30, and measure 30 is where things start to change a little bit, start to get a little less familiar. Starts off the same though. We're going to play that E7, so index finger here on the first fret of the G string, middle finger to the second fret of the C, and ring finger here to the second fret of the A. Pluck the C and A together, open E, 1 on the G, 2 on the C, open E, 1 on the G. And now it gets a little different. What we're going to do is take that ring finger that's already on the A string, slide it up to 5. Take your index finger and bar it across 4, and you can add your middle finger there for a little bit of support. Pluck the C, E, and A together. Then pluck G, C, E, A, G. So that measure is going on to measure 31, which is really starting the end sequence. We're going to take this bar and move it up to 7, add the middle finger here, to 8 on the C, pluck our C, E, and A together. Because it's only the C, E, and A, the G doesn't have to be barred, so if it's more comfortable, you can do kind of a partial bar, but we need the 7 on the E and 7 on the A together. And even though there's nothing really written here, I like to add what's called a fermata to this. And a fermata means that you hold it for kind of an indefinite amount of time. This is the last tension in the song, and from here, it really is like an outro. So that you can hear, I'm going to play measure 30 into that first note of 31. Should sound something like this. And now this end sequence I just love. Time to use some more harmonics. We're going to play open on the A, open on the E, open on the A. 12 fret harmonic on C, just like we did earlier. Open on the A again, open on the E. And then we're going to play open on the A, and then 12 on the C, then 12 on the E, using the harmonic. And that's all our harmonics from here. 12 on the C, 12 on the E, 12 on the A, 12 on the E, 12 on the A again. Then you can take your pinky, fret 15 on the A, and then you play open on the C, E, and A to finish it. Now, if you're having lots of trouble with those harmonics, don't worry, you're not alone. It can be difficult to start getting, right, to get that sound. So check out the video down below if you're having any trouble. But here's what the end sounds like. So starting on the second note of measure 31 should be something like. And here is the whole ending starting on measure 30 so that you can hear the final end to this Moonlight Sonata arrangement. And there you have it. So this one's a bit of a doozy. There's a lot of music to work on. I want to let you know that I had to practice this one quite a bit more than a lot of the other arrangements I do, just because it's much more particular. You know, and what I mean by that is every note has more of a purpose than some of the other songs that we do. Sometimes it's easy to have just sort of random filler notes within a chord and you move on the next part. If you start putting a lot of random notes in this song, it falls apart pretty quickly. So what I recommend is practicing small sections. Maybe you just work on section A in the first week, B in the second week, C in the third week. You might have this song done and completed and sounding good in a month, which sounds like a long time, but if you try to do the whole thing over and over, you might start making a little bit of progress, but realize, oh man, I've been working on the song for 9 months and I still can't play it without the music. And that might be the reason why. If you've enjoyed this video, though, feel free to leave a comment down below, as well as if you have any questions, feel free to ask it. My Patreon page is really what allows me to do these song tutorials, and it's a lot of fun to see what different songs people suggest. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already, and if you are a patron, thank you so much for all of the support. I can't wait to see what you guys decide on for next month, and yeah, I hope you're having a great start to 2021. Thanks so much. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.